Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Roy Evans of the Jericho Broadcast Networks, and I am here with Mr. Darren Reed, who is the Senior Vice President of Stride Professional Development. Darren, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Roy. Glad to be here.
All right, well, thanks. So let's start off by telling the folks a little bit about what Stride Professional Development is.
Yeah, absolutely. Stride is the nation's leading provider of online education in the K through 12 space. We were formerly known as K-12 Inc. and are over 2 decades in the space of providing free virtual online education across the nation to students, no matter where they are. We've since changed our name to Stride because we've expanded beyond the K-12 space, though that's still very much what we do as a priority. What we've also done with the Stride Professional Development Center is we've leveraged some of our expertise over the past 2+ decades of supporting schools and students and educators, teachers, principals, and we are trying to innovate, the way professional development happens for educators, and that we're doing that through the Stride Professional Development Center. Gone are the days where it's face-to-face only PD. It's episodic professional development. It's professional development that's not necessarily relevant to what teachers and educators need right away. So the Professional Development Center is designed to solve that challenge with some unique and innovative ways of delivering content.
All right, man. Well, listen, we are super excited here at the network to be engaged with you all and helping to provide this opportunity for teachers all across the country, and especially those teachers that are coming from our HBCU backgrounds, because we know that education was always one of the stalwarts of most HBCUs in this country. They all had teaching programs, and that's what a lot of them were founded for. So there, let's talk a little bit about those special programs that you guys have for the teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Roy, you hit on the very important point. Right now in our country, we're facing probably one of the greatest challenges, of our teaching corps that we have in many, many years. And that's around this teacher shortage. A lot of teachers are exiting the profession. Just based on tenure, they're retiring and moving on, and then you have, our existing teachers who are being taxed and stressed, particularly post-COVID with, increasing demands, challenges that they're facing in the classroom, and a host of other issues that they struggle with. And we need good teachers, and we need to support the teachers that we have. So the two things that we're doing is that we know first-year teachers, among all teachers, are among the first to leave the profession within the first 5 years. I think they do at a 44% rate, which is just scary to think that folks are, graduated, want to go in the classroom and make a difference, but, feel like they need to leave within the first 5 years because it's so challenging. So we want to support them. Obviously, as a new teacher, your school that you work where you work your first year, the district where you work, there will be some professional development support to assist you. But we want to go a step further. We want to help every teacher in the country get off to a strong start to their first year and have some stick-to-itiveness, to help them get through that first year. So we're offering a year free access to the Stride Professional Development Center. It's a ever-growing online database of courses that will help them in a variety of different ways. Classroom management, targeted instruction, and a host of other things. And the content will continuously grow. Again, it's just another resource that allows them to sharpen their practice, to feel like they're supported, because the research says that teachers are leaving in large part because they don't feel like they get enough professional support. So we really hope that helps new teachers. So again, this is for any new teacher who just graduated in the country. All you have to do is go to our site and sign on using the Teachers Win discount at checkout. Also, we have another campaign where during Teacher Appreciation Week, we gifted all teachers in the country, no matter where you are, 6 months free Professional Development Center access. But we're doing a special thing through our partnership with the BCSN and our HBCU graduates, and also the schools that you work with. We want any teacher in the country who through our partnership gets access to the Professional Development Center, and they get 6 months free using the BCSN 23 passcode at checkout. Again, our goal is to support and get as many teachers on the site feeling supported, to really help them succeed and have some success, not only for them, but obviously for our kids and the communities they serve. So
Most definitely. And Darren, listen, we are super excited again to be a part of this. My mother was a teacher. My aunt was a teacher. I have my best friend is a teacher.
Absolutely.
So we understand. I've worked in the school system for years. So I understand the resources that are needed. I understand why a lot of these teachers do take the time and they sit there, and after going through college, they're like, you know what, let's do something different. Yeah. So we're happy to be a part of this to help you guys change that. So ladies and gentlemen, here's all you guys need to do. All you need to do is take a look and go to the link that's right below us right now and see what you're going to do. You're going to see 2 links on the page now, just to make sure. The top one takes you to their professional development page, homepage, that'll let you know about some of the things that are happening there and the things that you have access to. Go to the second link that says Teacher Appreciation. That'll take you directly to the content page where you can sign up and get your free year if you're a new teacher, and your free 6 months if you're an existing teacher. Let's show them how we utilize resources, and we make sure that we take time, those folks who are HBCU alum, and use this. And let's see what Stride has to offer. We're excited about it. We know you will be too. Darren, is there anything else that you'd like to say to the folks?
No, I mean, just, as a teacher myself, and understanding the need, and of course with the diversity that's needed in our teaching corps across the country, I know our HBCU teacher graduates are just exactly what we need in our community. So I really encourage them, and just glad to be doing this partnership with you all.
All right. Well, folks, there you go again, Mr. Darren Reed, Senior Vice President of Stride Professional Development Learning. We will be seeing you guys, and trust me, you'll be seeing more from their partnership with us as we move forward, always trying to do our best to make sure that we move forward with the community. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Everybody is back in the studio. It's been a month or so since I've seen both y'all at the same time. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Doc. How we doing today?
Mike.
Good afternoon, Doc, CB. How you brothers doing today?
It's hot. It's hot.
Yeah, it's hot.
It's hot.
It is hot.
Somebody told me they put an egg outside and it literally fried.
Oh man, it's torture.
Man.
Well, welcome to episode 406, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports, from institutions large and small. From the NAIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to our KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home at Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. And as Charles alludes to, the center of It's Hot as Hell. With that being said, we're going to try to move forward with the show. Today's episode of Inside HBCU Sports Lab is THG Agency. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. Let's get right into it with all this heat, Charles.
I tell you what, though, Doc.
HBCU sports is on your mind.
It's not too hot for this 79, though. It's not too hot for that. So I just want to put that out there.
Don't take it down.
I just want to put that out there.
You broke 80. Is this the
first time you broke 80? Yeah, broke 80. That holy grail for the weekend golfer. I broke 80. So
significant. It looks like Mike has a cigar to celebrate for you.
Yeah.
It's time to celebrate.
Yeah, we got to get there. We got to get together, guys. We overdue.
All right, but hey, Friday's a good time. Let's see if our schedules can match up this Friday. I know we've been traveling, spending extra time on the road with family like you're supposed to over the last couple of weeks, making sure we get it in before we got to do our riptide and get back into our worst schedules in terms of traveling and following HBCU football. With that being said, HBCU football, we're going to release today 21 top teams for major and mid-major. We're going to break it down over the next couple of weeks. So we're going to start with 21 to 15. We'll do mid-major, and then we'll do major. See what your thoughts are on this. We'll do it over a couple of segments. So we'll spread it out and make sure folks take a deeper dive and get into it and see what you think. We'll look at last year's record. This is setting up where we think teams will finish. Obviously, we're throwing everything to the wall and seeing what it looks like. We'll make some people happy, some people cry, which is fine. That's just what you do around this time. But we'll get together and celebrate and make sure that they're okay with my numbers, and we'll throw it back up. And next week, we'll get to you 14 through 8. And the final one, we'll do the top 7. With that being said, let me go back to you, Charles. What HBCU sports news is on your mind?
Yeah, well, let's start off with, and this is courtesy of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, the SWAC. Council of Presidents and Chancellors has announced the naming of the building that currently serves as the headquarters for league operations. The conference office headquarters, located in Birmingham, Alabama, has been named the Dr. James Frank Building in honor and recognition of Dr. James Frank, who served as a SWAC commissioner from 1983 all the way to 1998. And this is a statement from SWAC Commissioner Dr. Charles McClellan. Dr. Frank's impact and legacy with the NCAA and the Southwestern Athletic Conference is truly remarkable. He was a true pioneer in the field of college athletics, and his vision and legacy continues to positively impact countless student athletes, both past and present. The Southwestern Athletic Conference will forever be indebted to Dr. Frank and his contributions to our league. The naming of our conference headquarters in his honor is truly fitting and undoubtedly well-deserved as we look to continually honor the historic contributions he made that have helped shape our conference into what it is today. So significant news coming from the SWAC office.
Yeah, before I go to you, Mike, I have to sit back and say, obviously that is a significant measure, but I must admit, something about that is just pretty cool. Be able to name your office after a long time, first full-time Commissioner Frank, as he did a lot, as he said, and served in so many different ways in terms of the current legacy of the SWAC. Fascinating to hear that news. Good stuff.
Absolutely.
Mike, any thoughts before you go into HBCU sports talk?
No, I just think that he was a very accomplished person. He was a HBCU student scholar. I mean, he attended Lincoln University, Missouri, on a basketball scholarship. He's a first lieutenant in the U.S. Army Corps, earned a master's degree from Springfield. So he was very accomplished. So you serve as as president of NAACP, then president of the SWAC, and all of the accolades in between. So you tip your hat a couple of times to Dr. Frank. So just you can't speak enough about what he's done in his field. A true pioneer, yes indeed. So
good stuff. Very true. Very true. Great acknowledgement in regards to that. So now I know when I say I go to the SWAC, I'm going to say I'm going to the Franks SWAC office.
To the Franks.
In Birmingham.
I'm going to the Franks building. So
what else news you got on your mind, Mike?
No, so we're talking a little baseball here. It's still the dog days of summer. We got the boys of summer. So we have Jackson State University head coach Omar Johnson, who's been selected to assist USA Baseball during the collegiate national team training camp for international competition. Big deal. USA Baseball Collegiate National Team, training camp will feature 56 of the premier non-draft eligible college players for a 4-game Stars versus Stripe inter-squad series in Cary, North Carolina from June 23rd to 29th. Johnson will coach the Stripes team and help USA Baseball in naming a final 26-man collegiate national team that will represent the United States in the Friendship Series against Chinese Taipei and Japan later this summer. This is the second straight year Johnson has coached with USA Baseball. Last August, he was part of the 13U, 14U athlete development program, which is, as you know, if you've coached baseball, that is the group of kids who are right on the cuff between high school, college, and kind of some actually can bypass that level and go to play AAA or AA baseball, depending on their skill set. So congratulations to Coach Omar Johnson.
Man, good stuff. Baseball still in the action, man. HBCU baseball, SWAC baseball represented in a lot of ways when you talk about that. Before I go back to you, Charles, shout out to Theron Waters, first in the class, 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, you get extra credit, but like you said, Theron Waters, man, you ace in the class, so you're going to bust the curve if you're not careful keeping doing stuff like this. You're going to have some folks mad at you. Carol Keelam in the house, Chuck Hunt, stylist Edward McMorris, Franklin Nelson is in the building. Saw Frank the other day taking care of business on campus, helping TSU athletics. G. Boom Holly is doing his thing. Edwin D. Moore, Emma Price. Shout out to P.A. Vaughns on here. Sully. Adrian. AD is in here checking us out. Appreciate the support, AD, as always. George Atterbury. Ricky Burke. Carl Moore. Charles, what's on your mind? What else you got going on?
Yeah, I'm going to follow up that Coach Omar Johnson also set to assist the Team USA with collegiate national team training is Coach Jonathan Hernandez from Bethune-Cookman. And as you mentioned, Mike, the collegiate national team camp begins on June 23rd, and the first game of the Stars versus Stripes series scheduled for yesterday, June 25th, at the USA Baseball National Training Complex in Cary, North Carolina. So tremendous accomplishment for both Coach Omar Johnson and Coach Jonathan Hernandez. And of course, Coach Alabama State's coach is also working with this program as well. So great inroads for all of these coaches in terms of their future recruiting efforts, in terms of getting exposed to the best of the best in this national program.
Is that part of the secret sauce that's going on in the East Division over there, Charles?
It did dawn on me that all these teams, all these coaches over there in the SWAC East, they've opened up a pipeline into some talent that is coming in, and then Alabama State's pitcher is part of the program as well as Pablo Torres, who's a freshman pitcher from Bethune-Cookman. So there's some talent inroads in there.
Man, no doubt, looks like some secret sauces you talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. That's that East Coast barbecue. That's I don't know about all that. That's like some serious home cooking. Like,
I hear you. LaShawn Harris has joined us as well. Mike, what else you got going on in terms of some big news in HBCU sports this week?
Well, Norfolk State alumnus Chris Bankston will compete amongst some of the best prospects in the world this summer, earning a spot on the Minnesota Timberwolves NBA 2K24 Summer League 2024. Norfolk State alumnus Chris Bankston. Minnesota released its Summer League team on this past Saturday, featuring 18 players coached by Timberwolves coach or assistant coach Max Lefebvre, if I pronounce that right. And the competition will take place from July 7th to the 14th in Las Vegas, Nevada. So after starting his college career at Little Rock, Bankston transferred to Norfolk State, where he immediately excelled on both on the court and in the classroom. This 6'9" athlete set Norfolk State's single-season field goal percentage record as a junior, averaging 11 points, 6.8 rebounds, 1.2 blocks per game, while shooting 71% or just north of 71%. He received all MEAC second team and all defensive team honors, while also landing on the Norfolk State AD honor roll for both semester. He propelled himself to new heights in his final year, averaging 14.2 points, 7.1 breakups, that's rebounds, y'all, and 1.5 blocks per contest. He was named to the All-MEAC first team and all-defensive team group, earning an appearance in the prestigious Portsmouth Invitational Tournament, or PIT, after this season's conclusion. So congratulations to this young man. A tremendous 2 years, but we wish Mr. Bankston, we'll look forward to seeing him in the Summer League in Las Vegas if you get a chance to catch a few of those games.
Good stuff, Mike. Yeah, we'll be checking it out. You talking about the Summer League games in terms of the NBA, boy, it's fascinating when you see some of those top draft picks and their connection to HBCUs, particularly when you look at the twins and their brother playing at Prairie View. Obviously, their parents playing at Howard. I thought that was a cool story. That was actually a year before Prairie View went on that run and won that championship back in 2018. He was on the team 2017, 2018 when they were building it. Played a little bit in the G League, so he got a shot there. But twin brothers going 4 and 5. That was pretty cool. And then number 3, also the connection when you talk about Alabama. Player there and his parents' connection. Cool when you see that kind of stuff come up. And just as I said, the HBCU sporting diaspora is everywhere. With that, we're going to take our first break, come back on the other side. We're going to give you that top 21 through 15. I'm going to see what these gentlemen say, see if I have 2 teams too low, too high as we get in there, and talk about what they expect kind of coming up for this season. Will these teams be able to get off the chair and kind of find their way maybe in that top 10, top 7 before the end of the year? But surprise, stick with us. We'll be back on the other side and see what Charles and Mike think about my 21 through 15. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this first break.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum designed for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
That's the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with the Professor Bishop, Professor Washington in the building. I love this time of year, preseason. We're getting these poll rankings, and I get to see the funny faces from Mike and Charles as they get all riled up by my little poll rankings, and they get to sticking their chest out like they know a little football. We're going to see. We're going to take it down to the mid-majors, 21 through 15. Let's bring it up. See, I got Charles already shaking his boots. Number 21, Bluefield State Blue. Big Blue. They were 4-4 last year. Big news this year is they're in the CIAA, as you heard during all season. They made the move, so they're in the CIAA. It'll be interesting. On the schedule last year, they played a couple of CIAA teams as well as SIC, and obviously held their own, but now it's for the marbles. So it'll be interesting to see as they're in the divisional play. What will it look like? We'll get to see in terms of divisional alignment, in terms of what that looks like. as they continue to push forward in this new CIAA format in 2022. Again, they were 4-4, coming off a 500 season. Fascinating to see what that looks like. Let's go to number 20. As we get in a little further, number 20, got Livingston Blueberries out of CIAA as well. Livingston was 4-6 last year, 3-5, so they're trying to improve. 26 points as they enter at number 20, struggling to continue to move forward. They had played some pretty good basketball football a couple of years ago. Regressed a little bit last season, so they're fascinating to see what that looks like as they move forward. Let's get into number 19. Number 19, Miles Golden Bears. Obviously lost a coach to Tuskegee year before, brought in a coach who struggled last year mightily. 1-9, 1-6. This is a team in the last couple of years ago. They were in the SIAC championship game. They were winning games, but hard times as you see with Golden Bears. Can they revisit that and move up the rankings? I'm not so sure. I love to see what the gentlemen think. Staying in the SIAC as we go to number 18, we have Central State Matadors, 3-7 last year, 2-5, 47 points. They've been doing the carousel with the coaches, a lot of changes. This was a program a couple of decades ago that was phenomenal, that, didn't take a back seat to anybody, not your grandfather's Central State Matadors, as they have struggled of late. I look for them to continue to struggle. Hopefully we'll get to talk about them a couple more times, other than their rivalry game against Kentucky State. But can they find a way to get in the mix and then find a way to a CIAA championship? I'm not sure. Let's get into number 17, where we go back into CIAA country as we have the Shaw Bears. Moving forward, as they were 4-6 last year, they did post a 500 mark in the CIAA in 22, 51 points. As they continue to trudge along, what can they get done? Let's get into number 16 as we move up the charts in the rankings there. Clark Atlanta, the Panthers out of the SIAC, 3-7 last year, 2-6. This is a team that some people think are going to take the next step. As they're putting some major emphasis in terms of the football program. Will we see it turn out in terms of wins? They play in a very tough SIAC Eastern Division, Albany State, Fort Valley State, Benedict College. They got everything done last year, so they got a long road to go in terms of climbing up that hill. But this is a team that a lot of folks want to keep their eyes on. Finishing up in terms of this first part of our poll rankings, at number 15, we're going to stay in SIAC. That is Kentucky State Thoroughbreds, 4-6, 4-3, 97 points as they come in the mark at number 15, rounding up. And you see again those teams starting with number 22, Bluefield State Big Blue. At number 20, Livingston Blue Bears. At number 19, Miles Golden Bears. At number 18, Central State Matadors. At number 17, we have the Shaw Bears. At number 16, Clark Atlanta Panthers. At number 15, Kentucky State Thoroughbreds. That is 3 teams out of the CIAA and 4 teams out of the SIAC. Mike Washington, what do you think about those teams in the poll 21? Obviously, before you get that thought, I would talk about there are some mid-majors that didn't even make the 21. A couple of mid-major teams, NIA and NCAA Division II programs that we hadn't forgot about, but wanted to get up the top 21 teams, if you would. And so we'll see if those teams can even jump and make some magic this year and get into that ultimate top 10, top 5 rankings. With that being said, Mike, what are your thoughts as we start things off this preseason?
So let me get this right. Bluefield State, they're going to the CIAA, right?
That's correct.
And they're going to play in the Northern Division, right, with Bowie State.
That's what it
Virginia
looks like.
State, Virginia Union. Elizabeth State. Yeah, yay. Way to go.
Throwing some meat to the wolves, ain't you?
They lost to Virginia State. They lost to another one, and they were competitive losses. So I think it's going to be tough for them to make their mark. But they were competitive. I think with the recruiting wise, I don't know, but I'm not seeing them as a team that can right off the bat move up into the top 10. I see them as a team that can move up 2 or 3 steps, if that makes sense. They're breaking in. I think they do play some competitive ball. So the one that also scratches my head, that makes me scratch my head a little bit, is Miles. So let's rewind the clock. Let's see where Miles finished in 2022. Where did Miles finish? They finished. Where did Miles finish in 2022?
At the bottom.
They finished in the.
They
finished in the West.
One win.
They were 1 in a million. They had 1 win, not 2, but 1 win. 1-6, 1-9. So I'm just gonna step out on a limb here and say, unless they have the best recruiting class in all of NCAA sports, I don't expect them to break the top 10. They play in the West, not the East, where you have Benedict, Albany State, Fort Valley, all very competitive teams. They can't even be competitive in the West. So those are 2 teams that I think will be very difficult for them to. I think, to be honest, love you, Dr. Cavil. You know you're my brother. I think they're a little bit highly ranked, going 1-9 and 1-6. But you have the system, and it is what it is. So I have some more comments, but I'll let CB get in here because I can go on.
It don't sound like Mike believes in the transfer portal from Miles Golden.
Transfer portal, they better own a whole wing of that portal.
Charles, what do you think on my 21-15 as we start things off this 2023 preseason?
It's a couple of things that I kind of take a look at in terms of our teams making that ascendancy into a different tier. You got them ranked here, and I'm curious. I was looking at it like, okay, who would be a couple of breakout teams? And the first team that jumps out for me is you got them at 18 because I think they have the potential to be a breakout team, and that's Central State. Central State. This was the first time since they had 7 all-conference selections. First time since 2013 they had that many all-conference selections. So that's huge. That's an upgrade in talent. And I think from the defensive side of the ball, they're going to be led by a young man, Jalen North. He led the SIAC and was ranked 5th in all of the Division II with 113 tackles last year. And if you go back to the Black College Hall of Fame Classic, that game, he was all over the field in that game. 6'2" freshman from Chicago. I mean, he had 10+ tackles in that game. And I think there were 9 games where he had 10+ tackles. So he's a guy that just flies around all over the place. So defensively, there's a lot of upgraded talent over there for Central State. So I expect for them to kind of make that move in the SIAC in terms of being a much better team. And like you mentioned, this is a pedigree program. They're itching to get back into what I call the upper echelon again of the conference. The other team that I take a look at, and I still stay on the defensive side of the ball, is Kentucky State. Like I said, one of the things I take a look at is the talent upgrade, which is the number of all conference selections. But Kentucky State actually had a winning record in conference play, and it was led on the defensive side of the ball. So what can they do with regards to offense this upcoming year? But I take a look at 3 standout guys that they've been talking about this spring. Jimmy Evans is one. He had 5.5 sacks last season, 28 tackles, super athletic player. They talk about him in terms of being one of those breakout players. Jalen Johnson had a huge 2022 season, 63 tackles and an interception. They're hoping to build off of that momentum. And then they got a sophomore linebacker by the name of Bobby Hayes Jr. who stood out this past spring. And they're really looking forward with regards to him taking the reins of the leadership on that defensive side of the ball. So those are the 2 teams that I kind of take a look at that I think can make a move, especially in the SIAC, and that's Central State and Kentucky State.
I like those picks. It'll be fascinating and interesting to see Can they make that next step and really get into divisional contention into play for the SIAC championship? With that being said, let's take our second break. We'll come back on the other side and we'll have the major division as we start with number 21 to 15 as well. We'll see what the gentlemen think about the major division 21 to 15. Stay with us. Be right back after this second break.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food? Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna loud, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Oh, this is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles and Mike. Let's get into our major division, 21 through 15. This will list out all 21 FCS HBCU football programs. So we're going to start team at the bottom. In a lot of ways, can't go anywhere but up. Number 21, Delaware State Hornets. They have a new coach who comes in. Has some talent out there, but always interesting to see what takes place when you new coach. That MEAC, it's 6 teams, but it's 6 tough teams. We'll see what this means. Delaware State, I have it 5-6, 2-3, 22 season. Couldn't quite get over that 500 mark, so you saw the coaching change, 20 points they start out. We'll see if they can make me wrong, but I see them at 21. Let's get into number 20. Number 20 is Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils, 2-9, 2-6, 26 points. They also had a coaching change. This wasn't necessary because they sent the coach and wanted to go in a different direction. Coach got a different opportunity. Always plays a lot of teams tough. Record did not probably reflect just how gritty and tough that team was. But I'm intrigued in regards to Valley Delta Devils. Can they continue to send in terms of what they put on the table? Will they take that next step? They're in a loaded SWAC Eastern Division. Can they get it done? We shall see, but I have them at number 20. Bringing us to number 19. Arkansas Pine Bluff, the Golden Lions, 3-8, 1-7, 35 points. That was their record in 2022. You see a refrain here for some of these teams that are coming in at 21 through 19. All of them are with new coaches at the helm in regards to seeing their first year at their program. Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions, they release senior quarterback that really had them in a lot of games that just couldn't get over the hump, but now they're searching. Will the new coach be able to have Golden Lions back in the business of playing some football, or will they continue to struggle? We shall see. Let's take it to number 18. Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, 2-9, 2-6, 22 season, 47 points, were not ranked. Again, this is our 4th program that will be under a new head coach and leadership. So in a lot of ways, which one of these programs will be able to send and take a next step under this new leadership. Will things change at number 17? Well, yes, we have Hampton Pirates at number 17. They were 4-7, 1-7. Their coach has been there last couple of seasons there, but they moved and had their first year in the Colonial after playing a year in the Big South. Didn't do much. They did get 4 wins, a couple of wins over their old rivals out of the MEAC, but they were 1-7 in conference play, 51 points. Can they take the next step? Is now they see what they need to do in the Colonial. Did they get those pieces to change things around? And number 18 might surprise some people. Norfolk State Spartans. They were just 2-9, 2-3. Coach Odom's over there. Many people think he's going to right the ship. Does that mean he'll be out of that bottom first 7 in that quadrant with 72 points? I'm fascinated to see what that looks like. But at this point, I think they have a way to go. Bringing us to close out the 15 is North Carolina A&T. They were 7-4 and 4-1 last year, 97 points. They take their first year in the Colonial. They're with a new coach, head coach. So we'll see what that means. A lot of changes. You hear a lot of good things about North Carolina A&T in terms of investing in the program in regards to what it will need to be successful in the Colonial. But some of that stuff will take a little while before it gets done. So I'm interested to see what that looks like. So let me go over this again. 21, Delaware State Hornets, 5-6, 2-3 last year. At number 20 is Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils, 2-9. At number 19, Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions with just 3-8. At number 18, Bethune-Cookman Wildcats at 2-9. So you have your first team out of the MEAC, your next 3 out of the SWAC, and then we move to number 17, the Hampton Pirates 4-7 out of the Colonial. Number 16, going back in the MEAC, is Norfolk State 2-9 in 2022. Number 15 is North Carolina A&T, the Aggies at 7-4, 4-1 in regards to 21 through 15. I'm going to start with you, Mike, this time in regards. No, I started with you, Mike, last time. So I'm going to start with you, Charles, in regards to your thought on the major division, 21 through 15. Anything stands out to you? Anything egregious that has you concerned in terms of 21 through number 15?
Yeah, North Carolina A&T, they won't be 15 or very long. I just think that's a program, like you mentioned, with regards to them investing in the program in terms of trying to win in the CAA. I just think that they're going to be a tougher team to deal with Vincent the Undertaker Brown at the helm now. I think, that's some significant change to go from Sam Washington. Sam Washington, of course, tremendously successful there at A&T. But I just feel like A&T is going to have the talent that's going to be able to rise, if you will. But that's, CAA, that's just a tough conference, probably number 1 conference in the FCS football. So how far they
you're going to make big sky folks, man.
I know. Missouri Valley too, exactly. But how far are they going to send? That's the tough one. What's curious to me with this one is there are a couple of programs that I thought maybe one more year. I thought if Coach Milstead maybe got one more year at Delaware State, they could find a way to get over the hump a little bit. 5-6 in conference play in the tough, gritty MEAC. I don't know what sort of personality that team will have now going forward, and how long it will take them to, the building blocks that were made. Did you lose some of it? I'm not sure. That's a great question, but 20 is probably right with them. Mississippi Valley, again, another personality switch, I think, that's at the helm of Mississippi Valley. Mississippi Valley, with Coach Dancy, they were always going to just bloody your nose. So the question becomes now, can they get over the hump with regards to just, we knew them as a hard-nosed, gritty team that might not have been as talented as their opponent, but they were always going to bloody your nose. So they're a very curious team to me. I just don't think Dawson Odom is going to stay down for very long. I always say, you take a look at the success he has consistently had at Southern. Last year was a bit of a shock, a setback, if you will, and you're not sure what was going on within the program, but I don't think it's going to take him long to get that program back right. I think Norfolk State will be right back in the mix of things in MEAC.
A&T and Norfolk State. One quick follow-up for you, Charles. Do you see them ascending to the top 7?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Ooh.
Yes, I do.
That's never going.
Yes, I do.
Mike, what are your thoughts in terms of 21 through 15? Charles put it out there. He said A&T, Norfolk State, not only they rank low, they should be in the top 7.
I agree with Norfolk State. I am a Dawson Odom fan. I think what happened last year, you had several different data points affecting the course of his coaching, tenure, at least last year. I think if you look at what he did, his body of work at Southern, my trust is in Dawson Odom to bring a good team there. And I look for them to move into at least the top 10. North Carolina A&T, I look for them to move up, but I don't know about the top 10. I like the investment, but given the nature, I think their road may be longer. Given the conference that they play in and who they're playing, maybe they're another year off before they crack the top 5 or the top 10. But I look for them to move up as well. The other one I would like to say is a long shot. I don't know. It's a gut feel. Bethune-Cookman. I don't think you can rule out Bethune-Cookman. Of all of those teams that have a puncher's chance, you look at defense, whatever, you compare them, they finished at the bottom of the East, or almost at the bottom, along with Mississippi Valley. And you like to say, well, Mississippi Valley played everybody tough. They do that every year, and they end up 1 in something or 2 in something. Yes, they beat Prairie View, but we still Valley. We still talking about Valley. We're talking about that.
I was about to say, what was 1 of the 2?
Yeah, yes, they beat Prairie View without question. But still, their top running back now plays for who? Prairie View. Okay. So they have good sized linemen. Their defense has been strong, but they play in the East. So I don't know if they'll be able to climb out of that pale, that side of the pale. So I do give a slight puncher's chance to Bethune. Maybe they've recruited. I don't know what their complete recruiting story, but I give a slight puncher's chance to Bethune as well. You can't underrate them. So
Ike is on it in regards to those teams. So as Charles talked about A&T, Norfolk State being in the top 7, what team do you say out of these 7 schools that will not finish as where we see them starting the season from 21 to 15, Mike?
Sorry, pulling up the list again. I have to look at Pine Bluff and look at where they are. I think they may fall a little bit lower. With the new training stream, they got rid. Their quarterback is now gone. You just don't know what's going to happen with Pine Bluff. That would be my top choice as far as you're talking about falling lower than their ranks now.
Yeah, falling lower, jumping higher. Which one of those teams out of those 7 you see either being lower than what I have them? Obviously, you can't get any lower than Delaware State. Ascending above where I have.
Yeah. I definitely go with Norfolk State going higher for sure. I think A&T for sure, North Carolina A&T, and then also Pine Bluff. I think they're gonna fall. I think they'll have a fall this year.
Man, y'all got a lot of belief in A&T.
What about Hampton? What about Hampton? I'm curious. What are you guys' thoughts with regards to Hampton? What they can do?
Well, I think they continue to be at 4 and 7. I think they, 3 and 8.
I think
maybe
I think they stay the same. Yeah, I think they stay the same. If you look at their record, I don't think they beat many Colonial teams. Maybe one. Then the teams they beat were HBCU opponents. I don't see them exceeding that performance. Maybe one more win, one less win. I don't see them going past that mark.
I think they have tougher competition with some of those HBCU that match up with Howard and Norfolk State. If you're saying Norfolk State is going to take that next step, it just means it's going to be harder for Hampton.
Yeah,
if they're taking the next step. So something's got to give between those two and Howard in regards to them being able to play better in their non-conference. And it looks like they're for real going to stay at least at similar level they are now. So that's the trouble you have. Get into some of these comments before we take this last break and come back on the other side and get some indication of what do you think will be 14 through 8. Just some name drops to see what your thoughts are on that. Edwin E. Moore is say on 1 in a million. He's cracking up on your stuff. Professor Washington is a bit pessimistic, but he says ascendancy. All right, Professor Bishop, he likes you using his SAT words. AD Drew says mid-major. He has Clark Atlanta taking that next step. I know he believes in the coach over there. I can see that. And he has major division Norfolk State. He agrees with both of y'all talking about those are the ones that he has possibly moving into a top 10 type of matter. Silas says, do not underestimate Bethune-Cookman. Jeff Roberts comes in here and throws a shot. He says that means number 15 will take out number 1, open up the season. So he believes North Carolina Central is probably going to be listed at number 1 when we get there. So he sees number 15 getting it done against number 1. Charles Bishop, the road to the top is quicker than NSU than A&T. So he sees Norfolk State and then MEAC being able to send faster than A&T in the Colonial. I think most folks would probably agree with that. Brandon King is, I'm sliding in the lecture a little late this evening. Yep, come on to the front of the class, Brandon, so we can give you your homework assignment. Good evening, deans, professors, and HBCU family. Tennessee State checking in. We have Tennessee State obviously above the bottom 15. I wonder what Brandon King, where he would have Tennessee State. Would he have them in that 21 through 15 or higher?
That's a good question. Where does Tennessee State fall?
Yeah, we'll have to see. Bottom 15. We have Evan Moore shaking his head. Get off my homeboys, Mike. He say, slow your roll. Slow your roll, these folks. Let's take our last break, come back on the other side, and we'll get into a little bit of the challenge and see y'all thoughts on 14 through 8. See if you can pick out who's going to be in that role in the next segment. Coming right back after this last break.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum design for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Will with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Let's get into our last segment. I want to see what the gentlemen say, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, what their thoughts are in regards to this next group as we get in 14 through 8. Paul, let me go straight to you. Give me a couple of teams that you believe are going to be in 14 through 8. And I want to kind of make sure I take some notes and see if I can hold to see how good you are with your skills in prognosticating what will come up next as we move on. What were some of the teams at the mid-major, any mid-major teams that you see? 14 through 8.
Did you say
in that next group? Yeah, I see it with the eyebrows. Everyone said ascending, you know. Thought I'd join him in terms of the word.
Everybody with these little 50-cent words.
Next group, mid-major, Virginia State.
You see Virginia State in that next group?
Yeah.
You don't believe Virginia State can squeeze in the top 7, but you see them more in that 14 through 8 range?
As of
today,
June 20, as of June 27th, they're 14 to 8. I might feel a little different in 2 weeks. Yeah, I might feel a little different.
I'll feel you. Mid-major for you, Mike. What's the team that you see that's going to be in that 14 through 8? Mid-major also. You're going to stick with Charles with Virginia State, or you got another team you want to come out
of? How about is Winston-Salem? They're not in this group, so
the fighting Stephen Gaithers. All right,
I'll say Winston-Salem, and I'll put in an extra for Edward Waters.
I will say this: you all are really good. All 3 of those teams are in the next 7. We'll find out next week where they actually fall. But you said Winston-Salem State, Edward Waters, and Virginia State. They are in the group from 4 through 8. We'll see exactly where they fall, how close they were in terms of being outside of that or inside of that first 7. I'm going to stick with you, Mike. Let's see if you are this good in the next level in regards to the major division. What are some teams that you believe are going to be in that 4 through 8 mode in terms of the major division? What's a team or 2?
In that 4 through 8 mode, 14 through 8. You probably gonna have Grambling in there. I'm trying to think about Grambling and who from the MEAC. Ooh, MEAC's a little harder. I would say something like is Morgan State somewhere in there?
We'll see. I'm gonna let Charles say his first before I tell you whether you're correct or not. He said Grambling State and Morgan State will be in that 4 through 8 range. Charles, what do you say in terms of the major division?
14 through 8, definitely. I would say Morgan State, South Carolina State, and then as far as a SWAC team, I'll go Tennessee State. Tennessee State will probably be in at 14 to 8.
Good stuff. Both of you are correct again. All 4 teams. I'm going to tease you, give you another shot. I want you to name a SWAC school as well, Charles, since y'all are so hot with this. Because you're literally correct. Tennessee State, Grambling. You said South Carolina State and Morgan State. What's a SWAC team that you think may be included in that next 7?
Alabama State.
Damn. Why don't y'all just do the damn poll?
Boy, a kid breaks 80 on the golf course and hit
I'm just going to ask where Tennessee State was, and he put them all in there. So, yes, y'all named like 5 of the 7 teams in the next poll rankings. So, the only thing left is to see what is the order of those teams. That's pretty good stuff in regards to understanding. Look out for Tennessee State this season. Brandon King, he's a Tennessee State Tiger believer this year. He said he believes, look out for that. So fast they can see if they can ascend out of that. But good stuff there, gentlemen, in regards to the next 7. A follow-up question as we get into it. Obviously, the first one up is the SIC into the Media Day in Atlanta. Charles, I know you're scheduled to make it. Mike, you're looking at it. And so I just want to get your thoughts in terms of getting into the Media Day and getting those modes. What are the type of things that you're looking to find out? And how much of that goes into where you would rank a team after you go to a media session like the SIC? And then obviously next up is the SWAC. And we get into the CIAA. That's the day before the MEAC.
I think so much of it for me now is, especially with the movement in the transfer portal, is how many additions, have been added. So media day now for me is almost like a completely new introduction to who this team is going to be in the fall, because and we still see, pieces that have been added in this second session of summer, if you will. So you get sort of this whole new look-see of what a team looks like as opposed to the spring. You get what, they might be in the spring, but you definitely get sort of an introductory or the curtain gets pulled back on who the team will actually be in the fall. So that's what I'm looking forward to in terms of the new names and some of the additions that will be added to some of the holdovers that you see as with regards to some of these teams, especially a team like Benedict. Who's really going to challenge Benedict this upcoming season in the SIAC?
Charles, follow-up question before I go to get Mike's thought on that is how much of that starts to change your thoughts on what a team can actually do in a season? Is it that much movement, or do you get to the point where you said pretty much a team is going to be the team? It's hard to add that much in regards to a transfer portal guy coming in this late. What are your thoughts in terms of the mix for a team? Is it like an additive piece? If you're a championship caliber team, is it the chip that gets you finally over the puzzle to get that championship? Or if your team's seeking to have a winning season, another player or two, is it that the type of difference? Or can it be a major ascension in regards to hearing a couple of key players that you may not know about now?
I think that's the fun part, because you don't know. I mean, I remember 2 years ago, nobody knew James Houston's name. And he was that added piece to Jackson State in that first championship run. And you're talking about an individual who came, right before, fall camps open. So you still, don't have a complete and full understanding or look-see of what this team is going to be before fall camp open. So I think that's the fun challenge, at least for us now. You kind of prognosticate, and you still don't know if there's that one piece out there that looks at their situation after the second session of summer and says, you know what, I think I'm going to, try my lot over here. And they show up right before fall camp opens. And now all of a sudden, that was that added piece that you just didn't see coming out of media days.
Mike, similar question to you is that part with the transfer portal and how much it has changed the game. Can you have a transfer portal player too? Charles gave a perfect example with Houston coming in there and really being a significant part of that championship team for Jackson State. What are your thoughts in terms of transfer portal and what it does, particularly this late session as folks are still getting into the second summer session? Some of them will be enrolling just for fall camp. What are your thoughts in terms of that?
Yeah, I think it's added an extra element to the potential for a team. I don't think you can predict it. I think it's hard to tell either way. You have some teams that you go back without the transfer portal. Maybe you rank them a little bit different, but you look at, Prairie View this year, I'll just say that, you look at who they bought in, and now, you're like, all right, maybe they're not going to be at the top, but they'll be competitive. Now you look at the transfer portal, oh, maybe they have a shot. I think it gives you different perspectives on a team. The teams still have to gel together. But if anything, I think it does add that extra element of perspective on how they'll perform in the scene, because now you have seasoned folks coming in from other D1, D2 programs that add to your program in addition to what you're growing organically. So you have two streams going into that formula now, whereas in the past it used to be just one. And I think it makes some teams more dynamic. So I throw a couple of teams that have taken advantage, of, and Prairie View being one of them. Jackson State you've seen the door swing both ways for them. Has it taken away from what they'll be this year because of losses, or have they supplanted enough? It to me, it brings that extra element of excitement, but it's not exact. You don't know how it's going to fall out. I think it just adds an extra element of complexity to how a team's going to perform because of the talent you're bringing in.
Yeah, I think that look-see has extended a little bit more. You know, Mike, I know you cook a lot. I think you're still the roux is still browning. The roux is still browning almost all the way up until September. Yep. Now you sort of like, okay, this is who this team is.
Especially with the compliance piece, as we've seen before, you really go up to make sure that you get all these pieces in. Edwin D. Moore says, Mike, you're sleeping on PV. Not really, Mike. He said people are sleeping on PV, so he didn't put it on you. But let me rewind and ask you the first question and follow up a little bit. As you go into media day, what are the things that you look for as you go into the session, getting prepared for media day? And once you get there, what things do you like to ask and find out that really gives you a glimpse of the next level in regards to your analysis on the football season?
Yeah, so when I go in, I look for kind of the culture and the attitude. You may say, well, that's intangible. You can't touch that, but you look at how confident a coach and his players are coming into media day. You know, how composed are they for the answers that, they're, pretty much a lot of times the same questions each year. So you look to see which coach is kind of coming in with that chip on their shoulder. You know, a couple of years we saw Alabama A&M come in with it. You saw Jackson State come in with it. I think you'll see FAMU come in with that chip on their shoulder. Then you like to hear some of their answers, not the questions, but their answers to some of the questions of, what team do you want to see? Are they going to answer? Are they confident enough to answer? What team are you looking forward to play this year? Some will give you that standard answer, and some will like, well, we got Alabama A&M circled on the calendar right there. The other thing is I'd like to hear them talk a little bit about X's and O's. They're changed from a previous year to the other year, and then I look at what pieces they've added. You ask them, what pieces have you added to lead me to think that, you're going to be just as competitive or run for that top spot in the SWAC, and you hear what that answer is. So I look for all of those factors when you go to kind of media day.
Good stuff, Mike. Good stuff, Charles. That'll do it for us today. Thank you for listening inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Hope you enjoyed our availing of 21 through 15 as we work our way down to number one. We'll do it 7 teams at a time as we break it down for this 2023 season. We'll revisit this at the end of the year and see also where these teams rank. Usually, we do a top 10, and we'll get back to our traditional top 10, top 5 throughout the season, kind of keep you on those teams at the breast of things. But as we close things out and get into basketball, if we can think about it, man, this league's so far off. Well, we start closing out with this team in December and name our champion. We'll come back and look at the initiation of this season in regards to the prediction of 21 through 1, and we'll break down and see what it looked like at the end of the season and see just how far off I was or how much I'm on it. With that being said, we look forward to seeing you on Thursday as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
Mike?
Lecture.
Dismiss.